Hello folks, and welcome to another video. Flash trigger voltage revisited. Let's take a look. Why are we revisiting the flash trigger voltage? Well, let me explain. So, many years ago, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, when I started my YouTube journey, I did a overview and a sort of a little review of my Vivitar 283 flashgun. And as part of that video, I did a little test to demonstrate the trigger voltage. Now, as I said, it was many years ago in my early part of my YouTube career, so thought I wanted to redo it. But the main reason that I'm going to redo it is because I'm hoping to be using the Vivitar 283 flash gun for at least a couple of up and coming videos and all sort of photographic videos, shall we say. So I just wanted to confirm and just double check the trigger voltage, just to satisfy my own curiosity. Now, what is the trigger voltage? Well, it's the voltage that passes through your camera, which comes through from the flash gun. So your camera, in effect, so in this case it'd be the M50, it's acting as a switch. So your flash gun's charged up, but there's no circuit, if you like. So when you trip the shutter on your camera, it could be any camera, that voltage travels through the camera into and back and makes a complete circuit. Certainly in very old flash guns there would only be a live and an earth, or a live and a return, whichever way you'd like to sort of call it. So your camera is basically acting as the switch. Now, the voltage isn't the voltage, we'll say, from the battery. So if you've got in 4 AA batteries, what's that, 6 volts, that won't be the trigger voltage. The trigger voltage can be anything quite high, and the early Vivitar 283 flash guns, the trigger voltages on some of them were 200-300 volts. And I'm not sure of the technical side of it, but basically your flash gun has got this massive capacitor in it, and you charge that up, and then when you trip the shutter, that massive voltage, that's what actually fires the flash tube, if you like. So that current is traveling through your camera. So modern DSLRs, mirrorless like this one, is full of very sensitive electronics. So obviously you don't want that huge voltage dumping through the camera. So basically you want the trigger voltage as low as possible. And I think as modern flash guns have been developed, obviously they've dropped the trigger voltages and things like that. And obviously, you know, if you've got a modern Canon camera, you're going to use a modern flash gun, so that's all taken into account. But with very old flash guns, you could possibly get a high trigger voltage. So it's a little sort of test for myself, and then I thought, well, I would do a video. I'm going to recheck the trigger voltage on my Vivitar 283. So guys, what we're going to need for that is, obviously we're going to need the flash gun itself. So we're going to need that. We are going to need a multimeter, something like that one. This is a digital one, but pretty much any multimeter is going to serve the purpose, as long as you've got a good range of voltages. So this one will actually go up to 1000 volts DC. It starts off at 200 millivolts and goes up to 1000 volts DC. So we're going to need that. We're going to need your leads to connect to the from the flash gun to the multimeter, and you're going to need something that will, how can I explain this? On the hot shoe of the flash gun, certainly on my flash gun, the centre pin is your live, if you like, and the side parts of the hot shoe on your flash gun, that it's got a little connection in that, and that would in effect connect to the camera body, which would then complete the circuit. So you need something tiny, like a little screwdriver or something, to just put in that gap to make the connection. So if we can get them off the table, you probably won't see these, but I'm going to use them two things there. So these are the little pins that you use to push out your SIM cards on your phone. So two of them will actually slide in the sides. So what we're going to do, guys, I'm going to set up and get everything ready to do the trigger voltage test. So we're going to use fresh batteries. But anyway, guys, I'm going to set everything up, and then we'll take a look at the trigger voltage. So folks, we're now going to test for trigger voltage. So just before we start, so what we've got to do is, I don't know why it's going to show up on the camera, but just right in the bottom there, I'm going to try and keep it in the shot, but right on the bottom there, if the camera focuses, just in there, where you're going to see it, there's a little tab. So go that way, will you see it? Right, so in there, so we'll come a bit closer, just in there, there's a little tab. So that's the tab that connects to the actual part of your camera, the part of the hot shoe of your camera. So that's the common or the return or the earth, whatever you'd like to call it. And on the bottom is the main feed in, that's the live, if you like. On a more modern camera, there'd be a flash gun, there'd be a lot more connections for your dedicated TTL metering, etc., etc. But that is this is a basic flash gun, so you've only got the two connections. So the next thing we're going to need, if I can grab hold of these little things that I showed you. So there you go. So these are the little keyways, the little pins that you would use to take your SIM card out of your phone. Yeah, there's two of them there. So we've got to use two to make up the correct thickness. So that's the two we need for that. So what we've got to do is, you've got to be very careful with this, is slide them, well, you can stay in the picture there, we're going to slide them into there, and they will have made the contact on the return, yeah. So you put the flash gun down like so. Oop, get it in the picture. So that's the flash ready to go. So our meter, so this is the meter, or my meter at least. So this one is a digital meter. So it's got ranges from 2 millivolts up to 1000 volts. So that's my meter. So we need me cables. Where's my cables? So the first one is the earth, or the return, the black one. So that will go into the common. Thus, and then what we do, I'm lucky enough on these leads, there's various different ends, but on this one, there's the little crocodile clips, or whatever we call them. So you can clip that onto there. And make sure there's no residual power in the flash gun while I'm at it. No. Oop, I pulled that off. That's typical. So knock that off, didn't I? Talk amongst yourselves. So there we go. It's not the perfect selection, right? So that's that connected back up again. So there we got this again. This is going to be the red lead, so that one goes into there. Now this one has a probe on the end, so all we've got to do is touch the red one onto the end of there. So we're going to charge up the flash gun. I think it's whistling away, you probably can't hear that. Right, so you see, so the flash gun, you see that's flashing. Don't know why you can see that yet. So that's flashing, so we're fully charged. So turn the meter on, that's 0. Right, so what we're going to do is touch this probe. Now it wouldn't really be recommended to touch anything of the metal, because you don't know what sort of voltage is going to be in there, but if we're going to touch that onto there, so what are we getting? It's about 8 volts, isn't it? Yep. Oop. So we're getting 8 volts. We'll double check that. So that's the reading. Quite difficult to hold it without knocking everything over. So it is. Oop. Put my hand under there so I can get a better. So we got. Right. Might be a bit of muck on me lead, so there we go, try again. So there we go guys, we've got about 8 volts. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fire the flash gun. Oop. So we set at 8 volts, yeah it's about 8 volts, right, 8.8 volts. So I'm now going to fire the flash gun, so what's the voltage? So you see him charging up. And we got the ready to go, like we're all moving slowly, yeah. So it's about 8.3 volts yet, so we're ready to go again. And that was a full power flash. So the trigger voltage is about 8 volts. So just double check. I'm going to fire the flash gun again, guys. Ready? Well, what's the meter? Oh, I'll press that. Hang on. Ready? Oh. See, so the trigger voltage is climbed up a bit there. So as you can see, the trigger voltage on this flash gun is fully charging. It seems when he's charging, it's about 8 volts. It climbs up to about 8.4, 8.5 when it's charging. Right, we're going to do one more full power flash. So what we set at, it's about 8 volts. It's going to stabilise. It won't be perfect, but there you go. So there we go, one last full power flash. Don't do too much because these are fresh batteries, I want to be using them. So there you go guys, that's the trigger voltage of my Vivitar 283. So if we turn it off, so no flash, flash is now off, there's no power. So in theory that will probably slowly but surely drain down if we fire it. I think this one fires without being charged up, yeah. So that's now fired and there's no power going through the flash gun at all, it's not being charged up. So the idle voltage, or without being charged up, is 7.9 volts. Yep, 7.9 volts. So if we turn it on, yeah. So whilst it's in its sort of a turned off state, it's about 7.9 volts, and that will go up to, what's that, 8.2. So it's negligible, isn't it? But there you go guys, so that's the trigger voltage of my Vivitar 283 flash gun, which is just about 8 volts. So there you go guys, trigger voltage of 283, they dropped that, 283 flash gun, just on 8 volts. Turn the meter off so we don't flatten the batteries. So there you go guys, let's change the setup and we'll have a little chat about my findings. So that was the trigger voltage test of my Vivitar 283 flash gun. So as you could see, it was fluctuating between sort of 7.3, 7.4, that sort of figure, up to about 8.5 volts. So we can sort of safely say that the trigger voltage on my Vivitar 283 is about 8 volts. So I think that's going to be fairly safe to be using on my Canon EOS M50. But if any of you guys that are watching this video are perhaps no different, perhaps you could leave something in the comment below the video, your thoughts. But I think it's quite safe. Having sort of done some Google searches and that, yeah, I think, you know, based upon what I found out on Tinterweb, 8 volts is going to be fairly safe on this camera. So I think it's time for a disclaimer here. So one thing I will say, I personally will not recommend using old and vintage technology on modern cameras because of the trigger voltage, and also certainly with that Vivitar and that sort of flash gun from that era, they've only got the sort of 2 pins. And modern flash guns with all the TTL stuff connected to your cameras, you know, they're much better, and you can buy a decent flash gun for, you know, I was looking at a Neewer one for sort of £50 here in the UK, so it would be a much better match for the modern cameras. But as I have the Vivitar 283 and I want to use it. But as I said, guys, I do not recommend using old technology on modern cameras because, you know, it could damage them. I'm prepared to take the risk based upon the trigger voltages that I've seen, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it. So as they say on all the good TV programs, please don't try this at home. Anyway, so that was the trigger voltage. So it's quite a simple test. I mean, if you've got an old flash gun, bit of fun to try the test, but as I said, don't use it. I'm prepared to take the risk so you don't have to. Anyway, guys, there you go. As we see, trigger voltage is about 8 volts on my Vivitar 283. So now, I think that sort of allows me to fairly safely carry on with my little video photo project that I want to do. So, all it remains for me to say, guys, is that I hope you found this video interesting and found a little bit of information. And until the next time, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye bye for now.